Welcome to Reformgelical, where the Reformed and Evangelicals meet. My name is Matt Williams, co-hosted by the great A.D. Robles. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm having a great day. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little discouraged, a little bummed, but,
What are
that's
you
how
bummed
life
about?
goes. Oh, it just, I was trying to install some lights, and it just didn't work out that well. And so,
What kind of lights
nothing
were
else big happening, really.
they?
Oh, man, it's
Yeah.
2021. Do you think this year is going to be better or worse than last year?
So here's my take on this. I think that it's going to be better in many ways because they're going to turn on the cash faucets and people are going to spend tons of money and people are going to be feeling really good. Maybe some businesses, they're going to get taxed more and stuff like that. They might not feel so good, but in general, people are going to feel really good. And then next year is going to be when the hammer drops.
Interesting. So we're going to have like the high of the drug now, and we're going to have
Yes.
the hangover next year.
Right. That's what I think. I think this year is going to be like the party that, ever been to a sketchy party where it's like, you know that these people that you're hanging out with, like they get crazy around a certain time. So you got to get out of there before that time. Like that's how it's going to be. It's going to be like you're with your sketch friends and once that goes one drink too far, you got to get out of there.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh.
what it's going to be like.
I totally forgot about those parties, but I know exactly what you're talking about. When it
Yeah.
got to like 1 or 2 in the morning, you knew you were rolling the dice for a fight.
Yeah,
Getting crazy.
exactly. So, that's what I think. I think this year is actually going to be, except, you know what? Let me scale this back a little bit. The lockdown stuff is going to be more extreme, so that's going to be annoying. But that doesn't mean anything for me because I'm just not going to do it. So,
Right.
so that'll stink. But in general perspective, I don't think this year's will be that bad.
Okay. I like the optimism. That's great. Do you think Big Eva is going to continue to go the Democrat way, or do you think they're going to start pretending like they're conservatives again?
I think they're going to do the what I predicted before, where they're going to pivot and be more conservative. However, conservative these days just means progressive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really even know. They'll be upset about. They'll wring their hands about the Equality Act a little bit. And so they'll write some think pieces about that, but it won't be like hard hitting. It'll just be like, this is not for human flourishing, stuff like that. But it's going to amount to nothing, even less than it did, when Trump was elected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally see that. Well, hey guys, I just wanted to say welcome to everybody who's joining us live. We don't really have an agenda. I mean, we don't normally really have an agenda. We usually have 5 or 6 things we're going to talk about, but we were just going to answer questions. So if you guys have questions, I see you already have some. We'll get to them today. That's what this show is going to be pretty much. I feel like I've talked about the election and all that stuff on my show enough where if you're curious about what I have to say, you can go to my show, How to Build a Tent. Yeah. AD, I know you've been talking about it as well. You can go to AD's YouTube channel. So, I mean, we'll talk about the election if you want, but I just don't feel like we need to repeat what we've already said.
Yeah, well, let me say this. I'll say I've been talking about the election, but mostly from a perspective of like so to me, the response is almost more interesting than the actual results. Like seeing how people deal with all this, like how Big Eva's acting right now, that's almost more interesting to me. That's what I've really been focusing on. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty crazy. I mean, like these guys are really sick. I seriously underestimated how disturbed a lot of these men were. Eric Mason on his Facebook page, he said, I'm supposed to be having a Facebook break, but I had to say this. And then he said something about how he believes that every one of those people in the Capitol should have been shot on sight. Kill shots is what he said. I mean, this is a sick and demented person. And then you got Eric Erickson. I know that's your boy. Talking about shooting all those people, like just disturbing, sick, like fantasies. Mm-hmm. And then you see the social justice warriors, just the most disgusting things that they're saying. And it's like, I knew that was there, but I didn't know it was like right there on the surface. All it took was just a little taste of victory, and they're out. They want blood. They're thirsty. Mm-hmm. They're in a frenzy. It's disgusting. And that's kind of, to me, what I've been talking about,
Yeah. I know. I saw your Karen Swallow prior video. I thought that was right on.
Yeah, man. What a
And
sick woman.
yeah, I don't think you liked that. I was kind of being more edgy than you were, and kind of you're trying to jump back ahead of me now, apparently.
Yeah, well, no, definitely. So I listen. I think that I like what you say. I mean, but I've noticed that I feel like I used to be the hardcore one on the show, but the script has flipped.
And we'll see if it flips back in 2021. Yeah. So the first question that we got here live was, how do you guys plan on resisting? I think that's a good one. I mean, we've kind of been talking about it for a while with resisting with masks and the vaccines and things like that. Is there anything more specific you're going to do now that we know that Kamala Harris is going to be president?
Yeah, Cruella DeVille, right. So Cruella Harris, I not really. I mean, I'm not gonna live with the lies anymore. I just don't do it. I'm not doing it. And I've noticed around here, I think I've always said this, that everyone's very compliant, but nobody says anything. Like, I've gotten very little pushback from people. In fact, I've got this weird suspicion that people are nicer to me when I'm not wearing the mask, which is very weird. But anyway, yeah, but I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna go with their lies. I'm not gonna do anything crazy, but I don't know. I don't really think there's anything that intense that I'm gonna do. You know?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I'm trying to think through now what is going to happen and what are we going to prepare for? Because I think that we'll do a better job of being righteous and standing for truth and just handling confrontations better if we can prepare for it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, so we're probably going to get a mandatory mask mandate. Depending on what state you're in, you may or may not have to deal with that in a stronger sense than others.
Sure.
And then the vaccines, maybe a mandatory vaccine to, I mean, we're already seeing it with airlines that are wanting to do it. I'm sure that maybe shopping could be where you're going to have to show a card or something that you got your vaccine.
Yeah, I'd consider getting a blacklist or a black market card for something like that.
I know. You know, I was talking with some people. I was talking to some people and maybe this morning, and I was just saying we need to get really good at functioning in a black market.
Definitely,
we need to really figure out how to do that because that might come the time sooner than later.
Yeah. I'm going to start dabbling on the dark web, you know, to get the counterfeit vaccination card. And I'll have to pay in Ethereum, you know.
Which is so funny. It's because you came out with this vaccine that's supposed to cure you for the original coronavirus, but we're on to the next one. And is it really going to be like the flu where there's 17 different possible variations right now and the flu covers 3 and you just roll the dice and hope it's one of those 3?
Right. I don't know. They're setting up everything. It's going to be like the flu. It's not going to be like the flu. You know, everything's just up in the air. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So I think those are the two things that we're really probably going to have to prepare for this year.
Yeah.
If we do the mandatory vaccines, I imagine a lot of churches are going to shut down again.
Yep.
And dealing with that is going to be interesting.
Yeah, the mandatory vaccine, you know, I hadn't considered that. I don't know if they're going to actually do that. I think businesses are more likely to play with that. Like you said, the airlines and things of that nature. But yeah, if they did that, the mandatory vaccine, I would highly recommend looking into black market stuff. And I'm not ashamed of it. I don't think that's wrong at all.
Yeah, especially in these situations.
Yep.
You know, you just got to remember that just like in the courts, you look to New York and California to see how they rule on things to determine how other courts are going to rule on things. So too with how they're handling this whole just coronavirus. I guess just government in general. I mean, that's definitely going to be the way we're going. Kamala Harris comes from California. She was an attorney general there and abused her power recklessly. Like kept people in prison past their term so that she would get labor. Those are the things that are most likely going to come to us. I mean, if we use her past behavior to justify or to predict how she's going to be in the future, it's no joke.
Why wouldn't you do that? That's the most predictable way. That's the easiest way to predict someone's behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why there's such a thing as a credit score. You know what I mean? Right, you don't pay your bills in the past, you're probably not going to pay your bills in the future.
Right. Yeah. And Kamala Harris has a very high tyrant score, and we don't have any reason to doubt that that's going down. Anytime soon.
I think another way to resist, and I don't have to really worry about this so much, but you gotta find a local church that is like-minded. because what's going to happen here is there's going to be tares and wheat separated. There's going to be churches that go along with everything, and then there's going to be churches that are actually churches. And so it's going to hurt. A lot of people reach out to me. I don't want to leave my church. I've been there 15 years, 10 years. And I don't tell them what to do, but I say that eventually you're going to have to decide, what am I in a state church or am I in actually a real church? State churches aren't real churches. The ones that follow the dictates of the state blindly, those are state worshipers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think of two things. One is we've been saying a long time this year that 2020 has been the year where we have seen the separation of the wheat and the chaff, specifically in the church.
Yeah.
And really, this whole thing with Trump and the fraud that happened, I still fully believe it happened.
Oh, totally.
No doubt in my mind. But we've kind of seen that in the government too. We've really, this year and the beginning part of this 2021 has been really revealing of who we could trust and who was really a good guy and who was a bad guy, who was willing to fight for us, who wasn't as well. So it really doesn't seem like God's done separating the wheat and the chaff. He's like going from one sphere to the next.
Nope, not at all. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think he's done it all. And I think that the amount of capitulation and folding that you're going to see in 2021 is going to be intense. People are bending over backwards to serve the state, and they'll continue to do it. You know what I mean? We'll see Russell Moore go visit these two twice as much as he visited Obama.
Gosh, I love how fast he brought out statements too about this rioting that happened.
He got out of bed quick. Yeah.
Gosh. Any time that he can throw his own side under the bus, he's going to do that of any kind.
Of course. That's the same thing with what's her face, the woman, and Karen Swallow Pryor. Any chance, any opportunity they can get to throw the church under the bus, they'll take it. And that's how you know that they're influenced by demons. That's what demons do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they penetrate and they infiltrate. They're not just always the obvious bad guy. And it just feels like they are trying so hard. It's like they have to fight to repress that stuff. And any moment that they have an opportunity where you feel like they can justify it, then they take it time every single time. But so the other thing I was thinking about with churches is we are coming to a point, I believe, where we're really going to need to look for churches that not just fight alongside of us, but really understand the need for dependence on each other in the church.
That's what I'm talking about.
Just because you have really good relationships and you guys go out to lunch after, like what happens when they tell you not to meet anymore?
Yep.
Like and then what happens when you have to go to jail and someone has to watch your kids because you met for church? Like these are the things that realistically can happen. I mean, our very own Gabe Wrench got thrown in jail for singing hymns in front of the church or in front of wherever he was at the mayor's office in downtown City Hall. Like, do you really think it's a far leap that the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, now that the ultimate authority on federal government, is not going to come down and do this stuff? They hate us. Like even moments after Trump loses, there was no let up. There was no, okay, let's get together. There's no reconciliation.
It's instantly, let's get everyone and charge them with sedition and this and that. That's the first thing that they thought of. It was just absolutely insane. And then to hear Big Eva people with their frenzy of bloodlust also say that stuff. Oh, they're going to get those insurrectionists. Do you know what they're saying when they say that? Those people should be rounded up, tried, and executed is what they're saying. These people are disgusting and sick, and they've got bloodlust. They do sip soy lattes and they dress like homosexuals and they speak like homosexuals, but they've got war and violence in their hearts. Mm-hmm. That's what often happens when you're so passive and such a, I can't say that word, but when you're such a sissy, you actually feel like you lash out, right? There's no question in my mind that if Trump supporters were rounded up, like I'm talking about his inner circle, I don't think that like run of the mill people will be rounded up, but like his inner circle were rounded up and charged with insurrection or whatever, that these sick, they would be applauding the death penalty for these people. For doing nothing more but participating in his cabinet or whatever it was. These people are disgusting. And so you have to realize that's instantly what they started thinking. Insurrectionist, sedition. Those aren't just words. Those are serious charges, obviously, and they know it. They're just they're sick. Yes, they sip soy lattes, but they wouldn't think twice to applaud you being rounded up.
Yeah, you would be a fool to think that they're just using hyperbole or just not being serious about it. You'd be an absolute fool. I mean, we even saw that with Joe Biden. He would say the stupidest stuff, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, that old Joe." He instead of saying the biggest ground game, he said he put together the biggest fraud in history. That Joe.
They would be so pleased, these people. Joe Carter calling everyone marauders. You saw some of those people, the old ladies in the Capitol. They didn't bust their way in. They were let in. And then there's old ladies walking around and Joe Carter, there's a marauder, a raging marauder seizing the Capitol. That's a sick puppy right there. That's a real sick puppy. There's just no question about it. And the thing is, when someone hears me say this, they're going to say, I don't like how you're talking about Joe Carter. But Joe Carter's the one calling that little old granny who's likely a Christian a marauder that needs to be brought up on charges and then executed. That's not me. I'm just calling him a sick puppy for thinking that, but I'm the problem.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I don't take that seriously at all. Somebody today told me that he wrote me a long couple paragraphs about how sad he reading my tweets is and how I'm going to have a hard time at the judgment seat. And he didn't say exactly what it was. So I asked him, I said, you said a lot of things here. I can tell that you're very upset. What is this about? Specifically, tell me what it is. You want to know what it's about, Matt?
Tone?
Laugh emojis. And so I said, thank you very much for reaching out to me. I'm done here. We're not talking about this. This is insane.
Oh my God.
Laugh emojis.
Oh my God.
Because I laughed at Jamar Tisby's insanity where he essentially said he wants people rounded up. Like I laughed at that and I'm the problem.
That's insane. Oh my gosh.
These people are demented.
They are. And fools. They're absolutely fools. Oh my goodness.
I've talked to this guy on the phone before, and he seemed like a nice guy. This is a demented person.
Uh-huh.
You hear Jamar Tisby say we should round up all the Trumpies. I laugh at that. I don't even say that. Just a laugh, smiley face. And I'm the one that's going to have a problem at the throne of Christ.
Oh my gosh. It's just like back in the day where the symbols were terrible when you said, okay, it was white supremacy and stuff. It's that silliness, man. It's the same spirit.
Cal Friedis, I want to mention something here. He said, defy tyrants, get involved in local, and that's all he said, but I think he means communities. Mm-hmm. And definitely, man, like you said, it's have a church that you can count on, but also have a church that like when the time comes and you need to like help each other out, it'd be nice that if your church had a farmer in it, a carpenter in it, a plumber, where you could all like work with each other. You know what I mean?
Like canner. That's something I was looking for. Someone who can can food.
Right. Yeah. Like this is not a stupid thing to do. Like you should find a church where there's useful people that can be productive. And that's sadly where we're at. You got to start thinking about stuff. You got to have neighbors that you know and that you're involved in their lives and that will take care of you, that will back you up. Because who knows what kind of insanity is going to happen in the next few years. I'm not saying, again, I think this year is going to be good. Mm-hmm. I'm talking years down the line. Like you need to start establishing these relationships now. Yeah. I don't think we're in a situation where we're going to be, starving for food, but you should see how these people operate. They want you to be deplatformed from payment platforms. What are you going to do if all of a sudden Visa cancels your account because you're an evil bigot? How are you going to, your bank closes your account? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like you gotta find people you can count on, man.
Well, here's one. The flight attendants union, whatever that was. I didn't even know flight attendants were a union. But it makes sense though with the service you get sometimes. Especially United. United is the worst service I've ever had, consistently. They want to ban not only Trump, but all of his supporters from flying ever again.
Yeah, they're sick.
And you think like, oh, okay, so you can't take vacations. But a lot of people that work, the Republican side, not so much Democrats, they don't work.
They don't have jobs like that.
But what happens when you go for a promotion or in your current job, you're not allowed to fly anymore?
Yep.
You're going to lose your job. If you can't fly and your job requires you to fly, you're going to lose your job. And before this pandemic, flying was kind of a big deal, especially the higher up you got in organizations. Like, these are funny things, but these are what's being floated around days after the election's been done and over with.
Just a couple days. They've had the blue wave for a couple days, and you're hearing this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you say like they have a bloodlust. They do, and they have this thirst for power, and it's not going to be satiated ever. And there's nothing to stop them now, especially now that they know they can cheat and they can win, and there's nothing that we're going to be able to do about it. Local support and community is the only thing that we're going to have, I think, in the next 3 to 4 years, hopefully that long from now.
Christina says you definitely need a church where you know people have your back when you're standing for Christ. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, Daniel. Sorry, hold on. Money's involved.
Money's involved. You got to stop.
Thank you, Daniel, for supporting us. Christ Church Leavenworth, CREC startup in Leavenworth, Kansas. So if you're in Kansas, go see Daniel. Sorry, continue.
Yep. No, I was just going to say somebody had asked the question, what if the church is not reformed? So let's just, hypothetical example, you really cannot find a reformed church where people have backbone, okay? And there are some areas of the country where that could be possible. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that's out of line. The first order of business is just make sure, because I would say you should definitely find a reformed church. So make sure that there's no reformed church. You know what I mean? Double check, check your list twice like Santa Claus. And then I would say that if you have only 2 churches in your like 100-mile radius and you can't move for some reason, one's reformed, but spirit of the age, and one is not, but is backbone, actually loves Christ, go to that church. No question about it. I don't even hesitate. I know that there are a ton of non-reformed people that love the Lord that, I can't agree with all of their theology, but have backbone and would get my back. Even though I'm a filthy Calvinist, they would get my back. And so I would much prefer that, especially going into a period where this is going to be the pagans are running the show for the foreseeable future. You got to find friends like that, man, because the thing is, we don't have the luxury to be to be picky and choosy sometimes. And that's just the way it is. But if you can find a reformed church, or if you can move to an area where there's a reformed church, you should do that.
Yeah, moving is going to be looking like a better and better option, especially if you're in the city. Even if there is these totalitarian measures put in place, more so than they already are, that is going to be less felt in more rural areas. I'm not saying everyone should leave, but if you are worried about that and looking for a place where you can kind of, have space in a lockdown, well, if you can get some acreage, a lockdown isn't as bad than if you're in a condo in the city, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it all depends on how non-reformed they are. Like if they're like antagonistic to Calvinists, that's probably not going to work. But but if they're cool, because there's plenty of cool non-reformed people that they'll joke around about Calvinism, but they don't hate Calvinists. Yeah, it all depends. There's a lot of variables. It just all depends.
And you know what, too? I watched all the hearings. I watched not all the marches, but I watched a lot of the marches. The majority of the people that were praying and leading and, having worship and stuff were the Pentecostals.
That's very true, man.
I didn't see any reformed people leading rallies. I didn't see any reformed people trying to stand up to the government and their abuses. Not saying there wasn't. Not saying that I agree with Pentecostals. I mean, they said a lot of cringy things. I'm not going to lie. But just goes to show to the point is sometimes people outside of your exact lane get it and will be more trustworthy to fight with you and to help you and to support you than people in your own lane.
Yeah, man. I listen, I am not Pentecostal. I'm a cessationist. My background, though, like my grandfather, they're all Pentecostal. And I know what these people are like. And some of them are wackadoodle. But there's a lot of people with serious backbone that seriously love God. And there's just no question about it. I get flack for saying that. And maybe I'm just biased because my grandfather's one. But it's true. I think it's true. And so, absolutely. Real quick, could we shift gears real quick?
Yeah. Do whatever we want.
Sean asks, I guess it's just true. Sean asks, 8 million customers cut out of the airline industry? No, they wouldn't have to do that. What they would do is that they would get the really vocal people, and they do this kind of stuff already. There's countries that ban like the very vocal people, like Lauren Southern's banned from like the UK. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like they'll just get the top people, and then everyone else keeps their mouth shut because nobody wants to deal with it. You know what I mean? So they don't have to ban 80 million customers. They just get, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, 80 million customers. They just get some big ones, and they add to the list every so often, and it just keeps everyone else in line because nobody wants to. I don't want to be in a situation where I can't fly, so I'd be tempted to keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I
further
don't know what
than Congress.
Right.
What did we just see on Capitol Hill? They just threw Donald Trump under the bus.
Sure.
Now, whether it was all MAGA people doing all the violence or not, it doesn't matter. Trump didn't call for that. But in 2 hours or however long it took for them to resume their order, the people's business, quote unquote, how many people just all of a sudden stopped fighting altogether and got in line?
Yep.
And those are our leaders.
Right.
What about the sheep?
That's right. That's right. And I'm saying I would be tempted. There's no question about it. I don't know what I would do. I would like to think that I wouldn't cave, but man, like I got business to take care of. You know what I mean? I got to go to my grandfather's funeral or whatever it is. Like, nobody wants to deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
we talked about it before with police officers where you either arrest the guy even though you don't agree with it, or you risk being fired because you were commanded to arrest this person who's not wearing their mask or whatever it is. And it's because they're not going to put their job on the line for you, a stranger. And so too with us. It's like, am I going to really risk my livelihood with my family and not put food on their plate? And just because I'm not going to stick up to you and speak out.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of thing. And and I think that's also why it's important to have a good community to encourage you and to fight alongside with. Is none of us are completely brave and bold all the time. There's a coward in all of us that we have to crucify. And when you are around other warriors, it's a lot easier to do that.
That's why I think that people are nicer to me when they see me without a mask, because they feel like a little more confident on the inside, and they want to encourage me along. That I don't think it's all in my head.
Really?
I was in the post office just the other day, and I had to go to the desk because I have a PO box, and there's a package that was too big, so I had to go to the desk, and they were just bending over. Sir, can I help you? Can I help you? There were like two of them there. I'll help you, sir. What do you need?
Oh my gosh. Okay, here's a comment. This isn't a question, but it's a comment, and I'm going to spare the person. I get the sense that Biden legitimately wants to be a good president, and his heart and soul, or whatever's left of it, isn't completely sold out to the devil.
Very optimistic.
I'm not insanely pessimistic yet.
You're a glass half full kind of guy, man. I commend that.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't see it whatsoever. I don't think Biden's a nice guy at all. You see how many times he sniffs those kids. He's disgusting. He is not a good guy at all.
No, I don't think so either. I think I think that he just wants to do whatever he thinks he can do to push their narrative forward. I mean, I don't even think he's gonna be president for very long. We'll see.
No, I don't think so either.
But he's gonna get us the $2,000 checks. Everyone's gonna get the $2K. He's gonna do like some kind of rent thing where people that can't pay the rent get the stuff. He's gonna do the Equality Act. He's gonna do
forgive student loans. Do you think
forgive student loans? Yeah, he'll do that. Well, at least they'll try to push that through. I mean, they're gonna be stimulus in the trillions right off the bat, probably.
They have. We've had with Trump. You don't think a fully controlled Democrat government's gonna do it?
Right, but I mean, it's gonna be quick, and then that'll be the first thing, and then it'll just keep going from there. I think that. Do I think he's pure evil? I think he doesn't know what planet he's on right now. But so in that way, if you think the Democratic Party is pure evil, then Joe Biden's presidency will be pure evil. He doesn't know what he had for breakfast.
It's true. So true. He doesn't even know what ice cream he's eating. Like as he's eating breakfast, he doesn't know what he's having for breakfast.
But he sure remembers to sniff every kid he sees. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, dude. It's so gross, man.
It's disgusting.
Oh. Okay, here's another one. Lecrae was doing. Oh wait. There was another one, but this is Lecrae too. Someone wanted to know about like what do we think about Lecrae supporting the Senate runoff candidate? I forgot his name. One of the Democrats. I think he came out and he was promoting what's his name, the pastor
Warlock,
that was
whatever.
a Marxist guy,
yeah. Ralph Warlock.
Yeah, what do we think of that?
What do I think of Lecrae doing that?
I think it's consistent with what Lecrae's been doing for a while now, right?
I guess pagan's gone pig. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think it's gross. I think he sullied the name of Christ. I think that all the idiots that support him are idiots as well. it's just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting for him to come to the aid of a demon like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for it. Paul wouldn't have put up with it. He would have been cast out to Satan for the destruction of the flesh.
I know, man. We need to get back to doing that stuff. I was watching the Congress kind of debate, quote unquote, which they weren't even debating really, except for a couple people, about the election fraud. And I couldn't even go halfway through Arizona because it was just so infuriating. And then I go and I look at some of our evangelical leaders, and it was much worse. And it's because these people are associating with, playing with, dabbling with demons. Like you're saying, that's exactly what we need to start calling them. They're just demons. It's the spirit of Satan. All of these people that are any way trying to affiliate with the demonic party, trying to...
Yep.
It's just...
What's the redeeming quality? There's no redeeming quality. We've already been through this so many times, but it's like, okay, so why are you with him? Because he's for justice. What kind of justice? All you gotta do is ask a few questions, and you see it's instantly just evil. That's what you're supporting. His evil.
Yeah.
Warlock.
I don't think there's any hope for this country until this is dealt with in the church. Personally, now. I don't think we're not going to fix the broken system with the broken system. And it's so funny, AD, when we first started doing this, you didn't vote. You ended up voting for Trump. And I thought you were going to come over to my side, that we're going to fight the government sphere together and we were going to take it over for the church, even though I'm pre-mill. But now look at me. I'm just like you were back in the day. Now I'm just saying there's no point in voting anymore. It's all corrupt.
Yeah. Why play the rigged game? You know what I mean? Like, if you know the game is rigged, it's a waste of time to play it. So you got to play a different game, or just change your strategy or something. I think that there are strategies we could still use, but the whole thing where you got to get your guy in, they're not gonna let you do it. And it's like, well, we're gonna okay, they cheated this time, but we're gonna change the laws, the election laws for next time. But you got to get your guys in first. Like, you have to get them in under these laws. Yeah. How's it gonna work? It's not gonna work. That's insane. That's an insane way to think. I saw some guy who I like a little bit of what he has to say. He seems like one of these rebel rousers on the conservative side. He was like, we're in great position to win both houses in 2022. Like, are you crazy? What? What are you talking about? What is that supposed to mean? What we got them right where we want them. They cheated, obviously, and nobody called them on it, really. And they got away with it. So what's the position that we have them in?
It's so bad. It's delusional.
It is delusional.
It's so bad. I mean, did you see any of the runoff statistics? And they did the same exact thing, as
I didn't look into it. I didn't look into it too much, but I saw a graph that looked very similar.
They had the same graph, but they stopped counting in the middle of the night while the Republicans were winning, and then when they resumed, magically the Democrats were winning again. They stopped counting just like the first time. They had all these computer glitch issues, and they had the same exact thing, found the votes, and magically they all win again. But next time's going to be different, guys. Next time. And what was so frustrating about that is I remember talking about this, that if we don't get this right, there's no point in voting for this Senate runoff because they're just going to cheat again. And everyone's like, no, it's different because they're going to be focused on one place. It's going to be completely different now. Nope. They did the same things.
Of course they did, because it was so blatant. It was so blatant the first night. That's what I said the first time. I was like, they want you to know that they can do this, and there's nothing you can do about it. So obviously, it wouldn't make a difference.
No. It's over. Like, maybe local elections, maybe. Like, if it's a off year and the systems aren't put in full effect or whatever, maybe. But
and the thing about it is too, like, you got to understand, like, everyone's in on it. So like last night, so I heard that like half of the senators that were going to object decided not to because of the crazy people that went to the Capitol. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we had a real journalist, even one, they'd be like, okay, I understand what you're saying. So let me ask you a question. Were you lying about the election fraud before, or are you lying now? Because you said that there was this fraud that we ought to look into before, and then some people went into the White House the Capitol that has nothing to do with the election fraud, but it changed your mind. So I guess we don't have to look into the election fraud now. Like, where's the lie? Tell me where the lie is.
Yeah.
But no one will do that because we don't actually have media. Nobody will ask them that question. It's an obvious question.
Yeah, I mean, there's no media anymore. So, I mean, it's like there's the trifecta. You have the news that's on their side, you have the government, and then you have social media. So,
yeah,
what do you do?
Oh, well, then you got Big Eva. It's the other pillar.
Well, I wouldn't say they're a pillar. They're probably some decorations in the corner of the room that they throw some water on every once in a while.
That's so true. So
it's that, and we were denied justice because some nuts without guns took over a high security government building. Not just a high security government building, one of the most secure buildings in the country with almost all of our lawmakers in at once.
Yeah, everyone was there, and they just waltzed in, some lunatic in a Minotaur costume. And some fat gamer bros with neck beards. And then they got in, and then there's a video that with what appears to be a police officer showing them the way to the chambers. Yeah. And we also saw what appeared to be police officers taking selfies with them. And then we saw one of the ladies ends up getting shot and killed.
Oh. Yeah. I saw one of the videos. A guy was like motioning through the window of the door, like, hey, it's locked. Can you unlock this?
Unreal. And so there it is.
Maybe we don't need guns. Maybe the Democrats been right all this time. We don't need guns to keep our government in check. We just need to walk in.
Hey, can you open the door for me? I want to come in here and dance around in Pelosi's office.
I got my horns. I'm good, guys. Let me in. I'm gonna go sit on the chair.
That guy, man, that's just too funny. But then, and then Russell Moore, like, this is insurrection. This is Christian nationalism. This is a travesty. And it's just like these guys they're just puppets. It must be hard. I mean, do you think it's hard for him to sleep at night? Like, I don't understand.
Demonic. I think they're so deceived, and it's just they don't even see it anymore.
They're just in it. Yeah,
they're just in it. All right, we got 2 reasons to show this one. Thank you for the donation. Matt loved your conference talk. Have you seen what Sean, I don't even know how to say his last name, has been doing? Puts the reform to shame, in my opinion. Fucht? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. No. Thanks. Yeah, that was my post-mill talk as a pre-mill person. And let me tell you, if I could do that, I feel like I can do any conference. I really could talk at any conference at that point.
It's like the next DNC.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man, I'd be crucified for sure.
Sean Fucht is an American politician, activist, Christian singer, songwriter, volunteer worship leader at Bethel Church. He's a Bethel Church guy.
Oh.
Pretty weird.
I wonder, I'd be curious to say what puts reform people to shame then. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I guess he's a politician of some kind. Yeah, I'd be interested to look into. I'll look into him.
That would be interesting. Okay. So I want to talk about QAnon for a second because I feel like I have a good read on what the QAnon thing was, and I'm probably going to get some hate mail for this. But
all right, cool. Because
going into the year, what?
I'll tell you what my read is after.
Okay.
You got to go first, though.
All right. Let me know what you think about this. So just to set the stage for this, I still don't know where to go to get straight access to QAnon. I know there's some kind of chans. There's like a 4chan and an 8chan. Or is it 3?
4chan and an 8chan.
Yeah.
Chans.
Okay. So I think it's like a board somewhere on some website. Don't know. But through this whole election thing, I was following a lot of Twitter people, or a few, that were QAnon people, that they like posted it and they had screenshots where they were like drawing circles from posts like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was relating to something President Trump took a picture of, all this kind of stuff. And so that's my experience. So I'm basing it off of what I saw on Twitter and how people were kind of trying to read tea leaves and things like that. I don't know how else to say it but that. They were reading tea leaves.
Sure.
I think it was a psyop to keep people submissive.
Totally a psyop. I completely agree with you on that.
Okay.
I completely agree with you on that.
It just made too much perfect sense because they enlisted these warriors to help fight the battle, but they never gave clear direction. It was always in riddles, which anyone knows in battle or in any kind of organization, clarity is the most important thing. And that's the opposite of what they did. Yep. And it was always just wait a little longer, then justice is coming. Just wait a little longer. It's coming. And it's just to pacify. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I never know what the games really are as far as like, is it just to pacify? Is it that or something else? And I don't really know. But I do know that. Well, I do believe. I don't know that it's a psyop. And there's a lot of psyops out there. It's not the only one. But I think it has all the hallmarks of that. It's not a cult. Joe Carter's a moron. Like it's not like like that's not how it is. He's probably a psyop, if anything, alleged CIA agent.
That's right.
But he's probably Q. Maybe Joe Carter's Q.
Could you imagine? Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but I don't really know, and I know that some people that follow the channel, they like the Q stuff and all that kind of stuff, and I don't think that they should be ashamed, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that a good psyop, and I think that you can look at ones that are like kind of proven, they're based on truth. There's a lot of truth to what that was all about. There are pedo rings, and there are sick freaks in our government and stuff like that, and all that. So it's based on truth, and so it's very plausible in some ways. Mm-hmm. But what I think was the giveaway is kind of exactly what you said. Like, it's just like, don't worry, we're handling it. Even when it looks like we're not, we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you don't actually end up doing anything of any real value.
Yep, exactly right. And that's the only thing that I have a problem with it about is, again, I'm not, I might be wrong, but the thing that I have problems.
It's either. Let me just say this: it's either a psyop or the deepest cover, real op that you could imagine. Like it would have to be so deep cover. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and So, and it's sad is because I still see people holding on hope to it. Like, Trump's somewhere in Texas right now, and he's going to start releasing all this information. I don't know, man. Trump looks really bummed in his talks lately. Yeah. But this is the thing that I have the biggest problem with Q. And again, if you believe it, you like just reading the stuff, it's enjoyable, or you think there's some truth to merit to it and it's helpful, more power to you. But it takes responsibility away from you, and you're putting it on other people.
Yep.
And that is not how anything in life works.
That's right.
If you want to be making a change, if you want to make a difference in either the pedo rings, a corrupt government, you take ownership and you start working to do things. You can't just trust these 4D chess players in the government that are giving you riddles. That's not how life ever works. And so that's my only one thing that I've learned this year, that you need to take responsibility. You can't just trust other people to take care of it for you. Do we have a guest?
No. My son came to say goodnight, but he's gone. So yeah, no, I agree. And I think, honestly, I don't think you're going to get hate mail, because I do think that the people that at least the people that I've talked to that like you, they recognize this, that it's like, okay, so if it's not real, it's definitely a psyop, and a very effective one. And I don't think that that's out of their minds at all. Like, I don't think that that's like, no way, there's no way. No. I don't think that that's how they are typically. Uh-huh. That's how they're presented by people like Joe Carter, but it's just not real. That's fake. What Joe Carter tells you is a lie. It's not true.
Right. Absolutely right. All right. More questions. Somebody said they want an answer to a question 37 minutes ago.
That's going to be tough. Could you repeat it?
Yeah. Can you just repeat it?
I'm like scrolling up and I can't even find anything from you. But it easily could be the app, Yeah,
it easily could be the app. And let me tell you, it's hard to talk and carry a conversation while scrolling through an active thread. So it's not personal.
Definitely not personal. I'm still looking, but if you repeat it, we'll get to it.
All right. I'll answer for both of you. Yes to both. That's funny. I don't even know what it is, but there you go. We have someone saying Jason. Yes to both. Q is pronounced like Q-U-E.
K.
K? Oh.
K.
Is that really K on? No. Tons of great believers were there. We were praying over one another. They prayed over our baby, preached against LGBTQ or LGBT and abortion without compromise. Oh, I think they're talking about
so tons of great believers were there. They're talking about the protest.
Oh, yeah. Seriously, the gospel was preached at a lot of these protests.
Oh wait, I'm not talking about church.
They're talking about church. Okay, but I'm serious on the protest.
Here it is. I'm sorry, it's hard to follow this. He said, I went to one, and dude, my Reformed church has been closed this whole pandemic. it was so encouraging. He went to like a real church that was open. And his Reformed church has been closed this whole pandemic. So he was so encouraged to be at a non-Reformed church that was actually willing to meet when the Reformed church wasn't. So he was just saying it was a great church. And yeah, man, good that you found one. That's amazing.
Yep. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm going to a Presbyterian church as a Baptist right now, just for that very reason. Okay. Go to
Micah.
Okay. Let's hear it.
It seems that there's no fight left. I see some politicians with grit, but it appears to me that the majority of conservative leaders aren't strong men. I'm impressed by Matt Gaetz. Do you think God will raise up more men like Gaetz, or will we get more men like Pence? I can answer if you don't want to.
I know I will. I don't necessarily believe that Matt Gaetz is who he is portraying himself to be yet. I'm not saying he isn't.
You just don't buy it. You're just not ready to believe him yet.
Yeah, and this is something I actually learned in podcasting, and I've seen it actually really in politics as well, and in radio as well, is people find niches to fill. And they will get traction if they get good responses, and they'll continue to kind of be a caricature, even though they may not necessarily believe those things. And then when real adversity hits, then they will waver and whatnot. So like, I think a good example of this is Lindsey Graham, right? Yeah. Or Cocaine Mitch. Both of them did those very things, and then they fold when it's opportunistic to them. And I'm not saying they're never going to fight, but they're only going to fight when it's convenient. And if it becomes more convenient not to, they just might do that.
They're not really sold out to the cause. They're out for themselves.
Yeah, like there's like we see this in radio all the time, and people get accused of it all the time. They're just filling a niche because they're successful at it. They don't really believe it, but that's just the role they're playing. It's like an act.
Right. It's kind of like Eric Erickson. One day he's for Trump, the next day he's against him. Whatever's going on. Yeah. Whatever's beneficial to him.
Dude, that guy is the worst. Just avoid him like a plague. So, Sean just says you just described mini pulpits. Like, yeah, I think so. I think that's very true. I think that's one of the biggest problems with Big Eva.
So Micah, I think here's where I think we're at. I think that God is judging the United States, and so we're going to get a whole lot more Pences and AOCs and all those kind of guys than we get strong leaders. But we will get strong leaders, and I think that you'll have guys that arise and do good. But it's not going to be the norm. It's going to be the exception. And so I don't think he's going to leave his people in the United States without help. I think he's going to provide the help that we need, but there are dark days ahead. There's just no question about it. We're being judged for what exactly. There's a list of stuff. I can't tell you what exactly each one is for, but to answer your question, Micah, I think we're going to get more Pences and more, pagans, straight up pagans,
Yeah, and that's coming from the post-mill guy in the group.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I think that this is definitely a misconception from a lot of people that maybe not you, Matt. I think we've had this conversation before. Yeah. But like post-mills doesn't mean that it's just always better the next day, but it means it trends better. So you look at the line for Bitcoin. Some days, there's a couple of minutes where it's down, but it goes up and down. You look at the Bitcoin line, but it's trending up severely. And I think that the kingdom of God in the church is going to be like that as well. There's going to be ups and downs, but it's trending up. And before you know it, there's going to be more believers than there are stars in the sky.
Mm-hmm. Sure, there is. Yeah, but I agree. I think we are going to continue to see the leadership that we have because it reflects who we are. And
Bitcoin is doing much better than humanity.
It's true. Didn't it just hit a record today? I think it just hit an all-time high.
It hit over 40K. So it hit 20K like a month ago and then doubled again in a month. Wow. What an insane thing.
Seriously, it's an insane thing. I think this is a conspiracy theory. I think those currencies are actually controlled by some government. I don't know which one, but I would think that would be a great play for a government to create a currency like that and just have control over it, even though it seems like it's not being controlled or whatever it is. All right. We got another donation. Nathaniel, thank you. For the record, when we say Reformed, there's a huge difference between Keller Reformed and Christ Church Apologia Reformed. I love that was the comment for this. Thank you, Nathaniel.
Yes, yes, there's definitely a difference. And I think it's the kind of thing, it's the same kind of thing with rhinos, like Republican in name only. You got Reformed in name only people as well, where they're like, I subscribe to the Westminster Confession, except here. It's like, well, no, then you don't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, yeah, you could. I think it's reasonable to take an exception here and there, like one or two, but some of these people they don't at all. Yeah. It's like the people that agree with the Baptist faith and message and have women preachers. It's like, no, you don't. You actually don't subscribe to it.
Yeah, you just redacted the whole page like an FBI release where it's just all black. That's not adhering to it at all.
So there's a very big difference, he's right. As a girl in the picture, I didn't mean to call you a girl. Nathaniel's right.
Oh, here's one. In light of the really real important issues that matter these days, how's the cost of living in Puerto Rico? That's my escape plan. I still think that might be a viable play, except now they're talking about making all 3 states, DC, Puerto Rico, I forgot what the other one was. They're going to try to make them states like right away. So that might not be a
the Puerto Ricans have resisted that for a long time. It always comes up and they always resist it. But
as they should.
As they should, yes. But it would be a very genius move if they could make it happen for the Democrats. Puerto Rico is very liberal and it's very corrupt, which is perfect for Democrats.
Yeah, but man, if you all of a sudden have to start paying federal tax there, it's going to crush the economy. Crush it.
Oh, totally. But they don't care about that. They're socialists.
Yeah, I know. Like, apparently.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, that would be amazing strategically, because think about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's always been a strategically advantageous island. And think about this. Imagine if you could turn Puerto Rico legitimately Christian and you just have an island there of legitimately Christian people. That would be something, man.
I know. And seriously, I think if we could guarantee that it wasn't a state, it would be a great location. Cost of living is not crazy. But I mean, it's cheap area. It's small. We could control it. We can get into local governments, and it could be pretty great. It could have been pretty great.
Church there.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Is there any more questions? I think that does it. I think we're good. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. Anyone? Last going once, going twice. Alrighty. So thank you everyone for joining. If you missed this show, you can see it. We release every Fridays. And if you're watching the recording, you can join us live 7:30 Eastern on Thursdays until we get sent to the gulags from Kamala Harris. Thank you for all. No. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everyone who supports us on Patreon, patreon.com/reformgelical, and the super chats. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing the show, and we'll talk to you next week. God bless.
God bless.